Hold on, I'm not properly clad for this. 1 second. 1 moment. So now that I'm appropriately dressed, I just wanted to talk about how much this movie changed my life, actually. Actually, I think it's the best thing to have happened to movies in a long time. It's the best thing to have happened to movies in a long time. Hold on, let me take these off, because I feel hindered. And so I really didn't know what I was going to talk about. I have not watched any Wicked videos, any Wicked related videos, because I didn't want to be swayed by other people's opinion, even though I have a strong opinion about it already anyways. I'm not properly clad still. There we go. So what I was gonna say is that I just don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin. Because I've seen it. This is gonna be so, like, sporadic and blotchy. I will say, like, when I first watched it, and dun 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 dun, when that started to play, I think my heart was like it just, oh my gosh, the rush of the start of that movie is like unreal, actually. So you know what I'm gonna do, actually, because I want to be really like concise about this. I'm just gonna talk about character. I think just off of, just looking at me, I feel like you can tell what I thought. Let me see if you can guess before I get further onto this video. Can you tell? So we're not going to start with who you think I'm going to start with, because you think you clocked my tea. You haven't clocked my tea. Let's talk character. The character that took me the most by surprise, and not, oh my gosh, not by surprise, but just like, I was so enthralled by the performance. Now, we already know Michelle Yeoh is actually not human. She's not. A lot of the people in this movie I don't think are human because of how impeccable they are. But Michelle Yeoh, oh my gosh, it's like I couldn't breathe when she was on the screen. I don't know. You tell me what you think, but I genuinely was like, oh, this is Madame Morrible. That is Madame Morrible. And she is frightening, but in the best way. Also, my favorite line of the whole movie is, hold on, I gotta get into character. Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stop, girl, you ate. Anyways, what I loved about her Madame Morrible is how subdued it was, because I don't know if you guys have seen the musical. If you have, you'll know. Madame Morrible can be very stereotypically old. She can be very like, oh, Miss Elphaba, and that's kind of what I was expecting. This is way before casting even happened. I was expecting a really hooty-tooty, hoity-toity, like Madame Morrible, and we did not get that, which I was very grateful for. She was just so in, and so like, I know how to captivate. Michelle Yeoh said, captivate? I got you on that. I can do that, I think. Anyway, and she ate that. She ate that down, unfortunately. Unfortunately for all the other Madame Morribles ever, she ate y'all. She ate y'all. I won't be taking further questions about that. So yeah, that character, I don't even think I can really talk too much, because I wish I had the time to do like a thorough, and maybe I will, but just the subtlety in Madame Morrible, I think, is what really sold it for me, and it was perfect. I'm not gonna do too much of a deep dive until I get to the ones that I'm like, I really wanna hone in on, but that's my piece on Madame Morrible. Michelle Yeoh, absolutely amazing job. Who am I to even say? No one, but just, it really did take me by surprise, because anyways, moving on. Shin, I don't know if their names are Shin and, hold on. Let me actually be professional. I'm not being professional at all in this video. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce this. Pawnee? Pawnee? Fanny? I don't know. But Bo and Yang. A girl. Now I will say this about, I'm just gonna say P and Shen Shen. P and Shen Shen, I wish had a little bit more involvement. I don't know if that makes sense. Obviously the movie in itself, there's so much to cover. Wicked is so much to cover. That was one of my biggest concerns about the movie, is like, how are you guys gonna do this? Because it's on stage, it's a lot. It's like bang, 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 and it's still so much. It goes fast, but it doesn't at the same time. And so I was like, yo. Anyway, so I know that there's so much to cover that they don't have time for a lot of the like secondary, third characters. You know, they don't have time to really flesh those people out, mostly because there's so much backstory with everyone else that they just don't have time. But I do think with what they added as far as like the movie itself, there was a lot of focus on the school environment that we don't really get in the musical that much. I mean, we do in the sense that we see the events, but like the school feeling, there was a lot more of shiz in the movie, and I did appreciate that. And I wished that Pete and Shen Shen had a little bit more time, a little bit more, just like, I wish we could see them influencing Glinda a little bit more, which I know that's probably a hot take because nobody probably thinks that she's influenced by anybody, but don't be stupid, she is. Anyway, and I think P and Shen Shen have a lot to do with Glinda's choices, a lot to do with Glinda's, just a lot to do with her, and it wasn't as centralized on that. So I don't know if they have some scenes in the deleted digital release. Go ahead and send it to me, guys. Stop playing with me. Send it now. Anyway, so that's the only thing I wish. But as far as the portrayal, so funny. Like every time they came on, I was like, please, you're making me joke. Like, so funny. I loved it. So P and Shen Shen really ate down, actually. I did not know Kiala Settle was going to be in this movie. And honestly, a little bit of a rob happened, because why didn't we hear her sing? I'm sorry. Why didn't she sing? How are you going to have Kiala Settle in a movie and not let her sing? But she was funny too. She ate. Because also, I don't know if her character exists in the musical. Now, I literally just saw the musical in October, and the last time I had seen it was when I was 16. So it's been a minute, and this time, the time I saw it, I was so much closer to the stage. So I was really trying to capture everything that I missed the first time. The first time, I was just so enthralled because it was my first time ever seeing the musical, period. First musical I've ever seen on Broadway, by the way. Oh my God, I can't even, like, just thinking about it. But yeah, I don't know if there is a headmistress role on Broadway. I don't really remember that. So, but I also thought that her being a little bit more showcased was cool, because I was like, yeah, I think in the musical it's Madame Morrible that's doing the whole room assignment thing. I don't really remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever. But what I did, my favorite part was when she was like, oh good, or whatever, after Elphaba was like, don't worry, I'm not enrolled, I'm not staying here, or whatever. That was funny. It was a little bit like, girl, what are you doing? But funny. The part that I think showed the character that I liked was when they were at the classroom and Dr. Dillman was getting kicked out. Sorry, I just can't even think about that. When he's getting kicked out and she was like, take your seat. I was like, oh, she's one of them. Oh, which we kind of already know. But just that moment, Kiala, stop. Anyway, she wasn't playing around. Governor Throp, like, oh, like, You are. You are. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm going to get into Nessa Rose bad. You guys. Governor Throp, the guy who played him, you ate, girl. You ate, because I was literally like, every time he opened his mouth towards Elphaba, I literally was like, stop talking to her like that. I get it. You're embarrassed. You're mad that your wife had an affair. I'm sorry. Don't take it out on this child. Elphaba did not choose her circumstances. Trust me. If she chose her circumstances, would she be green? No. So stop. Like, oh my gosh, I hated Governor Throp. Hated him. But good character work, actually. Slay character work, girl. You ate that. I'm just going to say my favorite part of each character until I get into the ones that I'm going to literally talk about extensively. But my favorite thing that he says is, I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's funny to me because, so in the beginning, he's like, take it away. And then he goes, take it away. And I feel so geeky right now. Whatever. But he says it in such a weird, take it away. I don't know. You play it and you tell me if you understand what I'm saying. But Governor Throp, girl, I don't know why you're so embarrassed. You're governor of Munchkin Land. Your job is already embarrassing. So please, spare me the antics. Obviously, Mrs. Throp. Honey. She ate, though, with her little swigs and her little sachet to the door. She ate. She did. I'll give her 10s. Girl, why was he improving? I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about the wizard. Should I save the wizard? I'm not going to talk about the wizard right now. Let me just move on. Bach. Ugh. First of all, I'm not going to talk about the actual actors, as in what's going on in their personal lives, because quite frankly, none of my business. Not in a way of like, I don't have an opinion or don't care, but not enough to talk about it on the internet, because really and truly, this is all of that. Don't want to talk about it. So Bach, I've already had gripes with Bach from the second I watched the musical anyways, because why are you doing all this for her? Why are you doing all this for her? And do you know how crappy of a feeling that is to find out, oh, you're only with me because someone asked you to? I'm sorry. No. And this is the thing, which I keep getting ahead of myself. People in this musical, a lot of them are doing things. This is where it gets a little crazy. They're doing things on behalf of someone else. Doing things on behalf of someone else and not actually doing something from your core because you want to. And the only person who's doing something from their core because they genuinely believe it and want to is Elphaba. Everybody else is doing something because it's what's expected of them or what someone asked them to do. And Elphaba is literally the polar opposite of that. And that's why they all get so upset at her, because it's like, wait, why aren't you just doing what people have said? Anyway, so Bach is doing like kind of a less extreme version of that, as in going to be with Nessa on account of Glinda, but it's still like a very clear example, doing what someone told you to do because, well, I mean, everybody has a motive and he has his motive, but it's just like, girl, you're yucky for that. You get the gist. Bach, I don't really have much to say about Bach. I mean, he becomes a little bit more important in part 2, so we're gonna save it for that. Okay, oh my gosh, we're getting closer and closer to the girls I want to talk about. Dr. Dillamond, why? You know how I feel about Dr. Dillamond? Dr. Dillamond is like my Shayla. Actually, my Shayla, because why are they doing him like that? When I tell you, I know Dr. Dillamond is the most, what is the word I'm looking for? The most passionate about teaching. You know he's the most passionate about teaching at that school. You know he is. You know he is, and you're gonna sit here and tell me that he can't teach when he's the one who cares the most about it. Stop. Stop playing with me. Dr. Dillerman, actually, it breaks my heart every time. And even like when I watch the musical, I remember being like, because it's just so sad. Oh my gosh, and so real. Like, this movie is real. The thematic elements are so real, and people are not really analyzing it, not really thinking about that, not really actually applying it. And I'm like, guys, this is not a fictional real. It is a fictional story, but it's really not. Dr. Dillerman, always power to the people. Love Dr. Dillerman. Peter Dinklage, also, I was shocked that it was him. I was like, what? Love Peter Dinklage. My favorite part that he says is when he's like, it's not funny, but again, it's the inflections that these people are using. So he's like, who is responsible for this? I said, who is responsible for this? The inflection, I can't. I love when people are like, they speak in a sing-songy way. Gets me every time. Okay. I guess it's time. Nessa Rose, y'all. Nessa Rose. I saw the musical, or the movie. Was it 3 times or 4? 4. I saw it 4 times. The last time I went to see it, I saw it with my sisters. I love my sisters, don't get me wrong, but they don't agree with me because they're fake. And this is what I'm about to say. Nessa Rose has to be the worst sister, on-screen sister ever. And I know that's not true. I'm sure there are worse, but I will say this, the most complicit sister. I never, ever would I ever allow that much scrutiny or bullying or just like outside sources being so mean to my sister in real time. And I'm sitting there, I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. Now, my sisters, they were talking to me about it and they were like, I understand Nessa. I didn't say I didn't understand her. I understand. I just think she's a bad sister for it. My sister's arguments were that she had been kind of in the shadow of Elphaba her whole life, and she's finally has an opportunity to go to school and forget about pretty much all the mess at home and not think about like her sister, her dad, and just be herself, you know? And the one time she gets to do that, Elphaba is kind of making it all about her, or Elphaba's there and she doesn't really feel like she could be whatever. That to me is kind of a lame excuse. I'm like, okay, I get it. Sure. There could be the initial frustration with Elphaba being there. And I think even when Elphaba like was trying to save her from Miss Coddle, that was a little much. So I would understand Nessa being like, this was my one shot. Like, you're actually making me mad because I actually came to the school to get rid of what you literally just did. And like the spectacle of it all. Like, and I'm sure Nessa just being who she is already feels like a spectacle enough. So the fact that Elphaba did that kind of really put the spotlight in on them. I get that. And I get being frustrated about that initially. But once she's enrolled, I don't know, forgive and move on. Like, how are you going to sit there? You cannot sit here and tell me Nessa was still mad at the fact that Elphaba was at her school the entire time. Because they went to the library together and stuff. Like, it's not like they stopped being sisters or whatever. Like, you got over it. So in getting over it, wouldn't that mean that you're, I don't know, protective? Are you not protective? Even after Elphaba's been protective of you your entire life. And even the spectacle that she caused at the school was because she was trying to protect you. So you can't even Uno reverse and return the favor? Nessa Rose. No, I'm sorry. So my biggest gripe with Nessa Rose is at the Ozdust Ballroom. Guys, and I really don't remember if Nessa Rose on Broadway has lines during the dance. I don't remember during the musical. It's, oh my God, so much. But in the movie when she's like, I can't watch. Huh? You can't watch. And that was a good 15 minutes of bullying. Oh my God, my heart actually shattered. It shattered. It didn't shatter the fourth time because I think I had built enough fortitude. But also there were two girls in our movies just gabbing away and just being so obnoxious. So it really took us out of the moment, which I was mad about because it was my sister's first time seeing the movie and whatever. Moving on. Yeah, at the dance when Elphaba comes and Nessa Rose, you're sitting there doing nothing. You're sitting there doing nothing. You're not telling people to stop. You're not telling people to shut up. You're not. What kind of sister are you? That actually made me mad because everything else, in class, I'm trying to think of the other times where Elphaba is clearly mocked. That was the most blatant one. I don't remember if there's other ones. I'm trying to think. Hold on. That was the most blatant one. But I remember being like, ew, Nessa Rose is a bad sister. She is. Because no, you would not see me sitting there saying that I can't watch and letting the entire party make fun of my sister. No. It doesn't matter how much of a spectacle you think she's making. It doesn't matter how embarrassed you think she's gonna. You can scold her later. If you're like, you coming to the party with that hat was so embarrassing. You say that at the house. But you don't sit there and let people, I'm sorry, no. Nessa Rose, bad sister alert. Bad sister alert. And then after Elphaba goes to, Elphaba and Fiero go with the lion cub and then they come back. Nessa, why weren't you looking for your sister? Why weren't you looking for your sister? Why were you not worried about where she was? You're too busy being at Bach's hip. That's why. And you know why Bach ran over there? Because Bach was running over next to Glinda. Okay? You should have been like, where is Elphaba? Everybody woke up after the spell and the flowers and all that. And you're not wondering where she is? And that's why you didn't get to go see the wizard. And I don't feel bad that she didn't, because you had been a terrible sister from the jump. Actually, when she was little and cute and sweet and oh my gosh, my Shayla. My other Shayla is little Nessa Rose. That's my Shayla for real. Anyway, from jump though, you had not been there for Elphaba. So that's why when Glinda was actually acting so sisterly to her, which we'll talk about that later, but when she was, Elphaba chose her to come and was like, you know what? I want you to be a part of this moment for me because of you growing to accept me and not making me feel worse. Which is what you did, Nessa. And that's why your happy tail did not go to Oz. Moving on. Nessa wrote, and it only gets worse. That's the thing. Like, Nessa's just like, her villain arc starts here, but it only grows. Moving on. He's not my Shayla. He's not my Shayla because he's also a two-timing rat. A little. Just a little bit of a two-timing rat. So he's not my Shayla. But Fiero, Jonathan, you ate, girl. I knew once he was announced, I was hooked. I was hooked. It did take him a little bit too long for me to peep the BS. Now, Fiero is 100% an avid participant in the BS, but he's more aware. That's the thing about Fiero. He's more aware than everyone else around him. He just chooses not to care. In the whole song of Dancing Through Life, he's like, none of this matters at the end of the day. So to me, that expresses like, I know what's what, as in, I'm not complicit. I'm not complicit as in, I'm just scared and not really knowledgeable enough to make a decision. I know what my options are. I just don't think anything matters. So I'm not going to do anything about it. That's what Fiero is. That's who Fiero is. And so then when he sees Elphaba and he's like, oh, she really doesn't care. But not in the sense of how I don't care, but in a sense of like, she's active and it intrigues him. And I'm just kind of like, back up off of her, because you could have been like that, but you're too busy wanting to have fun and be a fun girl. Anyway, but I did appreciate that he finally does kind of accept her and realizes that he can also help. I think that's good, but it did take him too long for my liking. And it also takes him a long time in the musical too, which that's another thing. He doesn't want to help her until after she's Galindified. You know what I mean? Now, that could be an argument that maybe he didn't see her really until she was Galindified, because he's like, I mean, I see you as you, but the second you're starting to act, it's funny to me, so that's intriguing to me. I don't know. Maybe he was always intrigued. I don't know. Whatever. He's another one where I'm like, I mean, I love Fiyero as a concept, but I don't know if I love him as a person. I don't know. He definitely grows. He is one of those characters that like learns as he goes, but in the beginning, wasn't too fond, as in like, you're just as bad as the rest of them. Knowing and still being like, is just as bad, you know? And I think he realizes that. So he does have a good arc. So Fiyero's not my Shayla, but I'll give 10s to where 10s are due for coming to realize. We're kind of getting up there, and I'm getting a little bit like, Galinda, Glinda girl. Glinda Uplands of the Upper Uplands. Now, let me try and start from the beginning. Okay, mean girl. She's a mean girl. Okay, she's not nice. I don't even know what the word is for what she is. She is popular, please. No, she's not. The word is not coming to me. She's not nice though. She's just, I guess, performative, but that's not the word I'm looking for. To me, Glinda doesn't know who she is. She knows what people want her to be, but I don't think that's who she is. In the sense that because of what ends up happening, because of her ending up accepting Elphaba in the way that she does it, in the manner that she does it, and even the slight tussle she had with deciding whether or not to go with Elphaba kind of shows that. Who this toss, that's not Glinda. You know, like there's someone else further down that she's suppressed that I think is more similar to Elphaba, but society and just everyone really did not let her kind of let it out. So she's become toss girl, but that's not her. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but I tried. So moving on to her actions and what she ends up doing. I guess it is a sweet story. It is sweet that she inevitably befriends Elphaba and feels sorry for, which I don't think she formally apologizes for how she treated Elphaba in the past. She just kind of is like, now that we're friends, which is like, girl, you harassed me. You were a part of the harassment, but okay, we can look past it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think of whether or not in her song, if that's kind of helping out her character. It kind of is. When she says, do they have brains or knowledge? They're popular. That's all that matters to her. It's just, oh my gosh, it's actually making me sad reliving and rethinking about it. Being popular, she ends up finding out. Literally in the beginning of the movie, we see where popular gets her. Doesn't get you really what you want. You don't have your friend. You don't have your boyfriend. But you're popular. But you're alone. And you're complicit in the heinous things that have been happening that you know were happening. I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, so they go to Oz. My gosh, I'm actually freaking out thinking about it. And there were a lot of things that also Ariana Grande really did surprise me. I'm just going to say that. She did. She ate. I was really shocked. And when she was initially casted, I was like, huh? But she ate. She really did. Moving on. They go to Oz, and the little things that were happening in the scenes where things really started hitting the fan. Glinda was showing the wizard and Madame Morrible that she was like one of them. You know, she was really trying to push that, like, I'm just like you guys. She really was. There was one part where Madame Morrible was like, this is just the transitional period. And Glinda's like, just transition. Girl, you don't know anything about these monkeys. Stop talking like you know. You do not know what's going on. And then she's like, Elfie, just listen to them. I'm sure they have a valid reason. You don't know what you're talking about. You just got there. You just witnessed all of it the same time as Elphaba did. So her being actually shocked and like confused about what's going on, you are just as shocked and confused. Don't act like you have some sort of sixth sense and you understand the wizard and Madame Morrible, because you don't. If anything, Elphaba is way more knowledgeable with what's going on because she actually spent time with Madame Morrible. Obviously, that was not a real version of who she is, but still, she has more insight than you do. So the fact that you're sitting there trying to act like, oh, even further proves that you're just trying to suck up to them. You're just trying to prove to them that you're trying to be popular, you know? Oh my gosh. And we get to the part that actually literally just snaps my heart. Elphaba asks her, are you coming with me? And my sisters again disagreed with me and said that, well, she knows what she wants. She knows the life she wants for herself, and it's not the life that Elphaba is choosing. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of right and wrong, what you wanted for your life, to me, is not more important than what was happening. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's wrong to say, but like, okay, everybody has a dream for their life. Everybody has a plan for their life. But if you see something, if you know something is wrong, the vision of your life that you have is not more important than the harm that is perpetrated by what you saw. And so the fact that that is the excuse, I don't know if that's the majority excuse, that's just the excuse that my sisters were saying. Her life will always be affected by what she saw. So you can't just turn it off. You can't pretend it didn't happen and you didn't see it just because there's a vision for your life or you have a better outlook of what you want to do. You still know what happened. Are you telling me that's not going to influence your life, your magical, perfect, awesome, popular life? It will. So that, to me, that's why I'm like, if you literally, and I'm sure, you know, it's literally a split-second decision. I'm sure you're not thinking that critically in the moment, but still, I would want to help my friend. And okay, maybe it is easier said than done, but for me, if I was Glinda and I witnessed everything that happened, I would have went with her. Because us two against them two, definitely more of more validity in that argument. There's no way. Now, it is crazy to me that people did believe what Madame Morrible was saying about Elphaba and how harmful she was to the monkeys, but they don't know Elphaba. They know Glinda, though, or the Glinda that she presented. They know who that is. So if Madame Morrible was to say, Glinda did this with the monkeys, that's another thing. You know your privilege of who you are, and you could have used that to help Elphaba, but you didn't. You use your privilege instead to keep yourself safer. Like, I'm sorry, what? What? Bad friend. And that's another thing. The chosen sister, that's not the sister she was given. That's the sister that Elphaba chose. And you still betrayed her. And you still left her. You still left her the same way Nessa did, the same way the governor did. You know what I mean? That's my biggest gripe with, and I mean, Glinda has to sit in it. She does. And I think over time, obviously, maybe it shows that she does regret that decision, but it's still just like, this could have been a completely different story had you gone. Completely different story had you gone. And it's really disappointing. And it's really true to life. I mean, we live in it every day. So it's not really anything new. It's not breaking news, guys. But yeah, that's how I feel about Glinda. Chosen sister that ended up still choosing to betray her, which is just so heartbreaking. Moving on to Triller. My girl, my Shayla. She is actually my Shayla. Elphaba Throb. I love Elphaba Throb. I love Elphaba Throb. I will say this. She goes a little hard to make sure everybody knows that she is not one of them. As in, okay, she's already green, so she already sticks out, but she goes the extra mile to stick out sometimes. I'm sorry, Shayla. I'm sorry, my Shayla. But she does. Because there's some stuff where, I think it's a little bit more blatant in the musical. In the movie, again, a lot of people are playing very subdued. Everyone was pretty subdued. And I guess for screen, it makes sense because, of course, for the stage, it has to be over the top. It has to be like the biggest thing in life because you have to reach upper echelon. That's not the right word. You have to reach pretty much the nosebleeds for emotion and readability and all that stuff. So, of course, for the screen, it was a little bit more pulled back. And Elphaba was. In the musical, the first few times I saw it, I've only seen it twice. I don't know why I'm talking like I've seen her probably a million times. I was like, she's doing a lot. Like Elphaba is really like quirky girl, like, you know. And in the movie, she's not as like, you know. I mean, though I don't know how to explain it, but if you've seen the musical and you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about when I say quirky Elphaba, and like, kind of look at me, Elphaba. There are some iterations of Elphaba that are a little bit like pick me, choose me, love me, but the movie is not. It's not like that. But the moment where she was kind of doing the most, and I was like, girl, calm down, is when, of course, when her and Fiyero are rescuing the cub, or like she's putting the cub to the water or whatever, and and she's like, you think I want to be this way? You think I want to be outspoken? You think girl, enough. At that part, I was kind of like, enough, actually. But I do understand Elphaba, like, to the core. Because when you are around so many people who are doing, this is another thing. Everybody in the musical is doing something on behalf of someone. But the intentions of the on the behalf are different for Elphaba. They're different because they come from a place of actual understanding, from a place of care that is not for herself. It's not selfish. It's on behalf of the animals. It's on behalf of the, I guess, minority of Oz, or, I mean, I don't even know what the lesser than in Oz. I guess that's who they are. It's on behalf of them, but not because she wants some sort of notoriety from them or because she wants to be praised by them. She just wants them to be safe. She wants them to be heard. She wants them to be treated properly, which is something that she herself does not get. So that's why she understands it. And that's why everybody else is like, what can we do? That's life. No, that's not life. That's not how it should be. And so anyway, the on the behalf is pretty much the theme of this movie. And it's actually crazy to realize and conceptualize in real time because it's like, wow. I mean, and that's real life. Everyone is doing something, but it's like, why are you doing what you're doing? And who does it benefit? Does it benefit you? Is it just because of you? It's a crazy thing to think about. And that's why I think this movie is so timely. This show is so perfect. Honestly, the spectacle of the musical, I think, is what keeps it on Broadway. But the story is why so many people go back to it, because it's real life, and it's also like, I don't even know how to verbalize it, but it's just such an important story to me. And it's literally one of my favorite musicals. It's not my absolute favorite, and I'm not going to say what it is because you're going to be like, girl, what? But that also, my other favorite musical talks about just someone being ostracized for the way they look Not in as extreme of a way. Maybe you can do your guesses after you've heard what I just said. But anyway, yeah, Elphaba means a lot to me. She means a lot to me. And I think Cynthia Erivo just blew it out of the water. And I think, obviously, as a Black woman, it just means so much seeing a Black woman play a role that is so specific to the Black woman experience. Like, and not just Black women, like people of color in general. We live Elphaba's story every day. So it was so impactful to see that. And I like literally cried this one part that I cry at every time is when Glinda with her fake tail gives Elphaba the cloak. And this is a new addition that they added, which maybe I'll do a video on that. All the things they added and took away, whatever. She gives her the cloak and they play these drums. And it's just so empowering. It like emboldened me. It was so, and she turns around and the cloak flies over and she grips the broom and she's standing there in her silhouette. It is actually literally one of the most powerful images I've seen on screen in a very long time. And I say this as if I'm some sort of film connoisseur. I'm not. I know one, but I'm not one. But just that visual, I was so... The first time I didn't cry because I was really just in shock, which is kind of what happened the first time I saw the musical. So the movie, I didn't cry. The second time, I really just let myself feel what I was feeling. And at that image, I was just so proud at the fact that it was Cynthia Erivo doing that. I was so proud at the fact that Elphaba was like, I'm going. And that was like her, almost like revving up her engine, getting ready to go type of moment. I was proud at that. I was proud at just the music and what that added to that moment. Because honestly, in the musical, I don't think they don't take a moment for her to sit in, okay, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? They don't do that. And so, it's beautiful. Oh, my Shayla. I just want to say I would have gone with you, Elphaba. I would have gone with you. I'm actually about to get emotional just thinking about it. It was beautiful. She is beautiful. It was beautiful. The movie is actually perfect. I love it. And I'm probably going to see it again. I'm not going to the sing-alongs because nobody wants to hear me scream like that because I will actually lose my mind and go crazy. So I'm going to wait till I can get a digital release and then I will scream at home. Those are my thoughts on the characters. I really can rant about Wicked for 72 days straight, actually. So I really have to plan, because this is kind of my free ball first initial thoughts about the characters after stewing and sitting on it. Because I saw it immediately when it first came out, saw it literally 2 days after that, saw it the week after that, saw it the week after that, and then saw it, 2 weeks ago now? So I've been, I just wanted to make sure that my thoughts weren't super raw. I wanted to sit on kind of what I was feeling. And this is more of a free ball. I don't really have a script for this. I was kind of just yapping away. But maybe next time I'll talk about other things and have a little bit more structure with what I'm talking about, not just word vomit at you. But this was fun. I love talking about Wicked. My Shayla. I forgot to talk about the cameos. But that's going to be in another video because really, as far as character, they weren't super character-y important. They were just important for the gag of it all. So I'll talk about that later maybe. But yes, that's how I feel about the characters. I will talk about other things later. So stay tuned for that. I love you, Elphaba Throp. And my Shayla, Dr. Dillamond, of course. And my Shayla, I forgot all my Shaylas. Who's my Shayla? Oh, Little Nessa Rose. Little Nessa Rose, Elphaba, and Dr. Dillamond. Those are my Shaylas. Okay. Ta-ta.